All right, here we are live. I've got a couple amazing people with us. I've got Coach Joe and Deanna Betterman of Betterman Elite Wrestling over in Colorado Springs. And they have quite a resume. He was a two-time junior national champion, two-time national champion in university, four-time senior national champion, 2007 Greco World Team member, 2008 Trials champion, 2011 Greco World Team member, and now he's up there in Colorado. And then his other half, not bad herself. I've got a whole thing I can read here, but 2005 Senior Women's National Champion, Junior Girls National Champion, 2005 Body Bar Senior Nationals, fourth at the Women's World Championships, and it goes on and on and on. I could read the whole thing to you, but a couple of husband and wife studs right there. So thank you so much for coming on, Coach. I know you're busy. You're out there on the Northwest right now. Welcome. We've got.
Oh, thank you for having me. You'll hear a lot of kids in the background. All my kids are running around. We're actually in Washington visiting some friends of ours and bringing one of my wrestlers back. I love to be on the show and appreciate it. And willing to answer any questions you have. The wife just stepped out to put the baby down, but
no worries.
I can get her on here too.
Yeah, no worries, man. It's awesome. So obviously I know that you've got the Elite Wrestling Academy and you're doing some big things out there. I know you're highly involved in USA Wrestling, and I believe you still live in that area, Colorado Springs area. Yep.
We're in Colorado Springs, and I have my own, I have my own club / wrestling academy, Betterman Elite. The academy, they train 2 days, or they go to school 2 days a week. The other 3 is online, NCAA accredited school, and train full time, doing 8 practices a week. We run their strength and conditioning. We have a couple world team members, a couple Fargo champs already. So it's pretty good. The kids are buying into the system. We want young Olympians and Olympic medalists, get those Olympic medals young, and then you have the rest of your life to, kind of go out there and take over the world in other avenues. But
that's awesome. Is it boarding or day?
We have a resident program. We right now we only take up to 5 athletes a year, which we're always full every year. But next year, right now we're looking at it. We're buying a property. We're in the midst of buying a new property and 36 acres and building a big gym with dorms. And so hopefully by next year we could take more than 5. So kind of like how Legends of Gold does it too out of South Dakota. We're right there with them.
Oh, nice. Well, let me write that down.
Yeah. And then with USA Wrestling, I'm the state chairman for Colorado USA Wrestling. So I've only known USA Wrestling. I've never done any of the other organizations. I've just been USA Wrestling guy through and through. So, but it's going good. My state's getting better and better, and bigger and bigger, and our athletes are doing really well. And we have tons of top athletes in the country, from Colton Schultz last year to Alvarez, and you have Tristan Kelly on the girls' side. She's a world team member. So we have a ton of young studs. We have a couple that are in the NCAAs that are upsetting people that are, as freshmen, ranked top 2 in the country already. So Moshe Schwartz and Patrick Ellis, and in all the divisions, 1, 2, 3, you name it. So it's exciting to see the kids do good and me be a part of it. And it's all them putting the work in, but I'm happy to at least help them on the USA Wrestling side as much as I can.
Yeah, that's awesome. I had a young man who coaches down in Denver the other day on, a real nice kid, and his father is actually a coach up at Arvada, I want to say. Arvada.
Okay. Must be, if he's at Arvada, I'm trying to think, is it Sandoval?
Sandoval, yeah. So yeah. I had the son on who coaches down in, I guess, a school in Denver. And real nice kid. I mean,
his son is Anthony. His son is Anthony. He coaches at Kennedy.
Yeah.
So yeah, and, great family.
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome talking to him, and he spoke a lot about how far Colorado wrestling has come, and it's starting to grow. And I think people always had that perception that because the training center was there, it was the whole state was just incredible. But it's definitely started to come out in waves now, and as you said, Colorado wrestling is top notch now.
I wish we could all train at the training center and bring all the kids there. That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
I wish that was possible.
But yeah, it's not. So um, talk about your club, your program. Uh, you know, obviously what you're doing for the kids there. I know that you have the school program going on, but if you're somebody in the Colorado area looking for a club to go to, why do I choose Elite as my club?
So with our club Betterman Elite, I have my last name. I'm a little full of myself, I guess, at the time when we made the
That's
club.
okay.
But, we don't I don't put a lot on winning right now. I put on a lot on helping develop the kids and helping them understand the sport and so that they can win later. I don't want kids to get burnt out. So, we work with the kids and show them, if they practice technique and they get things right and they keep going and going and going and working hard as a young kid, that they're going to be NCAA champs, or they're going to be Olympic champs, or they're going to be on an Olympic team. So that's what I push for. That's why I would say my club is different than others. I don't care about these national tournaments that all claim to be a national title, you know, like Reno Nationals or Reno Worlds or Rocky Mountain Nationals. And they always put nationals behind their name. And these kids are like, I'm a national champ. I won 5 national tournaments already this year. I'm like, what? There's only one nationals, and that's USA Wrestling. So we try to make it where kids understand the bigger picture and they chase the world level. So I think that's what kind of separates us from everybody else.
Man, that's awesome. And you're obviously doing big things. And being that you're a husband and wife team, uh, from what I understand, the girls had their trial year this past season, and now next year they're fully sanctioned in Colorado, and they'll get the opportunity to be at the Pepsi Center. And how stoked is your wife for that? And how about the girls? Are you putting a lot of girls through the program?
Yeah, no, my wife's pretty excited about it. She's the women's director for Colorado. Um, we're looking at women's being sanctioned. Obviously, with the COVID stuff, we don't even know if wrestling's going to happen this season. So that's kind of a bummer. But Colorado USA Wrestling will do some things, some tournaments for the girls. But really excited that women's wrestling has grown a lot in the last 4 years. So I mean, she could probably talk on it more, but it's definitely exciting to see. I think almost half the states in the country have sanctioned women's wrestling. So
It just happened in Florida. They just passed it the other day.
yeah, which is perfect. It's awesome. I think women's wrestling. I mean, men's wrestling's been around a lot longer, but women's wrestling is what saved us from the Olympics. From us losing the Olympic as a sport. And so I think there's something to be said about that, and I think that's going to keep helping us grow.
And how bad does she kick your ass?
Oh man, I let her win. I let her win. She's
You
a
let her
leg
get like the Greco throw in or what?
Yeah, she always don't throw me. Don't throw me. She's a leg grabber. So no, we're very competitive, and when we always the real fight in the house is who would have won in high school. I'm from Illinois, and being from Illinois, we have a chip on our shoulder, and she was second in high school state for boys, so we kind of get into arguments there.
Wow, for boys, that's incredible. Good for her.
He lost by 1 point with 3 seconds left. Well, the kid got to escape in double overtime with 3 seconds left. Otherwise,
that's a lot. And talking to, I've talked to a couple of people since I started this April 6th. So, and I've tried. One of my big goals has been to get as many women as I can on here. So I've gotten women coaches and women wrestlers, and the coaches like at the college level or the athletes. Like I had an Australian wrestler on, a New Zealand wrestler on, and they were awesome. And I think the thing that they love most now is they can walk into a room and they're just looked at as wrestlers now. They're not looked at as like, no, my son's not wrestling a girl today, or no, that girl's not wrestling my guy. No, we're forfeiting, or, oh my God, there's a girl in the room. And they said it's just been a pleasure to be able to bring young girls into rooms and let them wrestle.
Yeah, I think we've really evolved as a sport with women, with having women's wrestling, and they definitely, we just look at each other as wrestlers. We don't say, one way or another, so it's exciting to see the growth that they've had in such short a period of time. I mean, men's wrestling has been happening for, probably over 100 years, and women's wrestling, for just in the US, we're saying, gee, even folk style alone, and now you have girls beating up on the boys. It's pretty awesome, something would have been taboo back in the day, where they would say, girls aren't allowed to wrestle.
Yeah. I mean, I spoke to Coach Ayers over at Princeton, who has a daughter that's pretty good. And he said that the Jersey State tournament this year was over 700 girls.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's going to keep growing and getting bigger and bigger.
That's good for your wife.
Yeah, that's right.
That's awesome. Hey, so I had somebody on the other day who is involved down here in the Florida chapter of like FAWA and USA Wrestling and things like that. And one of the big things he talked about is the importance of backing USA Wrestling and getting people back involved in USA Wrestling, because I guess there was a point where people kind of veered away from it. And why is it important to get people 100% bought in and backing up USA Wrestling?
I think hold on one second, I got a kid yelling at me.
That's all right, no problem.
Madison.
It makes the show better.
I had to mute it. I think you're going to see a Royal Rumble with the little ones for a second. There, you're going crazy.
Perfect. We'll watch you coach right there.
Back in USA Wrestling, I think when I look at all the different organizations, I've just always, USA Wrestling has been the organization for me. I think that USA Wrestling gives a lot of opportunities for the kids, and not just in the US, but internationally.
Are you there?
Dan.
Yes?
Hey, my computer died.
Oh.
So I apologize. Hopefully we're still live.
Yes, we are live.
Let me pull up my camera, make sure it's on. But I just say, USA Wrestling gives a lot of opportunities to kids that they would never have that opportunity, like traveling overseas, wrestling in the Pan Ams, like there's the 15U, and that has a lot to do with WWL offering those things. But you don't see some of the other organizations, even the older ones like AAU, you don't see them doing stuff like that.
Are we back? Hold on, let me see there. There we go. All right, there you go. All right, we're back. So, go ahead. I'm sorry, Jason. Coach Wessliger was like, "Hey, Dan, I see you, but not him. I think we lost him." Now you just popped back on. And real quick, one thing he said is, man, he really loves your philosophy about just focus on building humans and not the whole champion winning thing right now. He said, we preach the same and enjoy the sport, get better technically, and the wins will come. Burnout is a real thing. So he says, much respect to your philosophy.
Thank you. Tom, I appreciate it. And, I learned from some good coaches. So that's kind of what I got from them. And so I'm going to keep, passing on that torch. But with USA Wrestling, just being able to get those opportunities that you wouldn't have gotten in other organizations, maybe. Like the one thing for me is traveling overseas or competing overseas. And as a kid, I didn't start till high school wrestling, but some of these other kids, are going at 7th, 8th graders going overseas and competing. I took 3rd and 4th graders last year, along with high school kids, over to Amsterdam myself, my own team. But I know USA Wrestling does it with 15U, sending them over to the Pan Ams and things like that. It's just more opportunities for kids to reach higher. And so they're the organization that I will always back, at least for now. And, as long as they're around. And it's exciting to be a part of it at the front lines with them.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. And excuse me, I know that not only wrestling has been a main part of your life, but the military as well. And you are you are an Army guy, and I believe you wrestled for the Army as well, right?
Yep. So they recruited me. I'm retired now. I got medically retired, so I got 100% retired from the Army. I blew my neck out and ruptured a disc in my C6 C7, and my left arm was paralyzed. That's why I retired early from wrestling. I came back a year later and I blew 6 discs out my lower back. So I think God was telling me, hey, it's time to hang it up, but the military, really helped me and my family a ton. It was an honor to be able to go and serve my country. I never got to deploy. I was a staff sergeant when I retired, which was awesome. I left WCAP. I was with them for 3 years. And then I left there after I got injured, and I went and became a recruiter for 2 years. So that was a great, all great experiences, and get to see the military life, and would definitely do it again. And, I have a lot of wrestlers that just graduated that are actually joining the military. So it's exciting to kind of push them in the right direction.
That's awesome, man. So wrestling has has done so much for you, and that's great to hear, and all your successes. One thing before I ask you about traveling the world and some of the cool places you got to see because of wrestling, talk about your career. It's not your typical, I was a 2-time state champion and I just took on the world from there. It kind of, you were going uphill a little bit, and then once you got out of high school, you kind of went down, caught speed downhill, and your career started to really take off. And talk about that, because I think there's a lot of kids out there that think if they're not this amazing all-world wrestler in high school, that they can't go on and have a great career.
I think that's it. Back to the philosophy is training hard when you're young. It's like being a flower that blooms late. I put a lot into my training. I listened to my coaches. I didn't start till high school. And my mom moved to Wisconsin, and I ended up staying in Illinois. I got her to let me go live with my dad so I can continue to wrestle. I told her I was going to get a full ride scholarship. I didn't know that. I just told her, I just said, if I stay here and wrestle for my coach, who is Carmelo Flores, who was an Olympian in '84 for Puerto Rico for freestyle. I said, if I stay here, I'm going to get a full scholarship. And, so she bought into it, and I did it, and I trained and trained and trained. I never won state. I won freestyle and Greco state in Illinois, but I never won folk style state. I took 6 my senior year. I was All-American in Fargo my junior year, top 10 my senior year there. But I got offered a full ride by Ivan Ivanov to go to Northern Michigan. And, again, I thought I was so good, when I got up to Northern Michigan, and I got beat up, and it was kind of being humbled again, and start working hard. I get Ivan to stay with me an hour after practice. And then little by little, all of a sudden I'm winning junior national tournaments. I made the world team, junior world team, won university nationals. And then all of a sudden I started making world and Olympic teams, and, winning the senior nationals and all these international medals. And I think I just attested to training hard and being almost like crazy, like the Brands brothers preach, or Dan Gable. You got to be a little crazy and believe in yourself so much that it seems so out of there, off wall, like that it would never happen, but it happens. I thought I was going to be, that I was untouchable, and that I was so good, even though I would still lose, and it was okay to lose. I learned from my losses, and that's, Jordan Burroughs loses and he comes back killing it, same thing with all these other Olympic wrestlers. No one's undefeated, but I just think, I had a very interesting, wrestling career where I got to be a part of a lot of different programs, from high school, then to Northern Michigan for 6 years with Yvonne, to Momir Petrovic and for Steve Frazier and Ike Anderson and Antonelli or Anatoly at the Olympic Training Center for 4 years. And then I joined the Army for like the last end of my career. And the Army, WCAP was like a really good family. They took care of us financially. I had a kid on the way. Those are some of the things that gets a little scary when you're competing and you're older. You're in your late 20s and you don't have a real job. You're wrestling, and you're like, oh man, the only thing I have going is if I win tournaments, I win money. But if you can't do that, then what are you supposed to do? And so it gets a little scary. So the WCAP really helped me a lot, and they helped me solidify myself, and now I own a house and things like that. And if I was a young wrestler coming out of high school, I might even look at doing the WCAP program to not only serve my country, but at the same time to be able to compete at the senior level and have a great sponsor, because they're your sponsor. What, primarily kind of, the Army's your sponsor, but there's a lot of stuff, when it comes to being a senior level wrestler. And I think WCAP really had it together.
That's awesome, man. So obviously this sport allowed you to travel the entire world, and you got to see so many different countries. And first of all, to be a USA Olympian wrestler and to wear that USA and travel the entire country, what did that mean to you? And what are some of the countries you look back on and go, man, that was a cool spot?
Yeah, I mean, it meant a lot to me. Like, we used to joke around because there's some other countries that would buy athletes to switch, and it was always asked if I would ever do something like that. I would never do it. The United States is, I mean, I have it on all my gear and things like that. That's something that's important to me. And just to be able to represent the U.S. in a different way. I can go and wrestle an Iranian guy, and there's no hard feelings. We're friends after. We have dinner together. It's not it's just very very cool to be able to do the things I got to do and travel the world. And sometimes I was going to 10 countries a year, and it gets a lot if you have a family. It gets a little crazy, but being able to do that stuff, and my wife was able to do it, it was really fun. I mean, one of my favorite countries is Sweden. Just, they all speak English. It's really clean. The water you could drink out of the tap. You can't do that in all the countries.
You can't do that in all of our countries.
In all our states now. I did that in Eastern Europe, and I got sick once. I think I was in Serbia or something, or Romania, and I got really sick. But no,
you live in the right state to drink tap water, so you're good.
Yes, yeah. I had a lot of fun though. It was fun traveling. It was fun seeing the world, and I get to go overseas at least once a year now with my team. I take my team overseas and get them to see the world. But it's pretty cool. I really, for training wise, I think the most I enjoyed was Russia, and maybe in Azerbaijan. I learned a ton from their coaches. They took us in like family, and showed us just like they would show their own athletes. There was no hidden secrets. They helped us just, like we should all help each other. We're humans. It's when we step in the mat, it's one thing when we're in the circle, but when we're outside the circle, we shouldn't hate each other, so.
First things
really
first. Yeah, obviously, USA Wrestling lost a legend a couple of days ago in Chris Fetter.
Yep.
And, regards out to USA Wrestling and you guys and his family. And I hope he rests in power. And he's done a lot of good things for USA and Maccabi Games. And I got the opportunity to interview him for about 20 minutes last month. So that was super cool. And just my condolences out to USA Wrestling, Maccabi Wrestling, and your family over there. So just wanted to get that out. I know you guys are a big, close-knit community.
Oh, very close. The wrestling world is very close. And I didn't get to work with Chris too much, but he's a great guy. With the Maccabi Games, they always try to get me to wrestle in the Maccabi Games because I do have Jewish heritage, but I never pulled the trigger and went. And me and Nate Angle, Nate's the Oregon State assistant coach now. We were just talking the other day about going and coaching the Maccabi Games. So, but I mean, Chris, he donated his life, I would say, to not physically donate his life, but he gave his life to wrestling and to the sport and to these kids. And he, was always there for the kids and, there to help. I know Nate, he was Nate's coach. And, it's sad when you lose somebody, but, think of the memories and the lessons he's taught all the other wrestlers, in the world that he's worked with. So, I mean, I'm very appreciative for people like him.
Yeah. And USA Wrestling and the wrestling community and just our country in general, our world lost a good man. So just wanted to say that. Shout out to you guys. And is there any young studs up there at the USA Training Center that we're going to hear their names, that we're going to see them soon on that world level kind of under the radar guys you think is going to be like, wow, that's going to be the next Olympian?
You know, at the OTC, I mean, they obviously have no training going there right now because of the COVID stuff. But I mean, obviously, we all know Kamal Bey. You know, he's always been one of there on there, and I'm hoping that he can break through and make an Olympic team here soon, and win a medal. I'm very, I guess, I'm more leaning towards my kids that I worked with. I have a senior, like I said, I have a senior going to Northern Michigan with Andy Bezic, Cole Smith, and he's gonna, and then I have some other seniors. I got a senior, Johnny Massapis. He's going to Colorado Mesa University, but he's a hell of a Greco wrestler. So he's going to wrestle folk style, but I'm excited to see him, to see him hopefully on the senior level. Between him, I got Cole will do what is going to do great. I'm looking forward to him hopefully making an Olympic team, a world team. We got a couple of females, Tristan Kelly, she's going to Colorado Mesa University, and she's the #1 recruit in the country this year. And she's going to do big things. Hopefully she's going to be top 4 at the Olympic trials, top 3 this year for 2021. But I don't know, man. You never know. There's the thing about young generation and these young kids, they surprise you. And they're you don't know what's coming out of the woodwork. And it could be that kid who like we were talking earlier about your son, it could be that kid that was 0-30 his first 2 seasons, right? Yeah. And then all of a sudden, something clicks, or he just puts in the time throughout the summer, and now he's making world teams. So I just be on the watch for some of these Colorado kids and some of these other kids. It's going to be exciting to see the next 5, 6 years.
Yeah, it's awesome. And for you and Deanna, man, God bless you guys for what you're doing for the youth up in Colorado and all over the country. I know you're out in Northwest America right now doing your thing with your kids and wrestling, and just awesome stuff. I'm glad you guys have found some property to grow your Betterman school bigger and better, and that'll be awesome to see that in the future. And I can't wait to see that grow and get to know you. It's the first time I've met you. It's the first time I meet a lot of people, but I feel like I'm becoming a fan of a lot of folks out there. I get to watch some good things. And do Joe and Deanna travel too? Like, can people reach out to you two and have you come to their state and do clinics and things like that? Or are you strictly...
for sure. I'm actually, like I said, I'm in Washington now. And I'm at Justin Newby's house. He's the executive director of Washington USA Wrestling. And I brought his son back. His son trains. He's one of my residents in my program. And I'm going to hit a clinic up. We're going to do a wrestling clinic while I'm out here, a small clinic. And then, so we're doing all kinds of stuff like that. We travel, we do camps, clinics, you name it. We go to tournaments across the country. I own a clothing company. A lot of people don't know I own Gold Medal Gear. And so we do all the sublimation stuff, singlets and all that stuff. We've been up for about 2.5 years. So we're all over. But if people want to contact me, they can reach me on Facebook. I have an intensive camp coming up the July 6th through the 12th. The kids actually come and live with me for that week, and they train 3 times a day. So those links are up on Facebook too, if they're interested in that. We're only taking 20 kids, but
yeah, when you go, when we get off here, are you following Ward Wrestling Live yet on Facebook?
I believe so, but if I'm not, I will jump on there.
Yeah, and then go ahead and in the comments and stuff, put all your links, put all your information, how people can get a hold of you, and then also feel free to share this with everybody. But this way, people know how to get involved with you and your wife and your program up there. That would be awesome.
No, that'd be awesome. We appreciate it too. And my wife's out there dealing with the kids. I wish she was.
No, let her be. I'll get to meet her one day. She can come on anytime. Are you ready for my 10 questions?
Yep.
All right, your adult life, you've been in Colorado, so it's all surrounded that. Halibut or trout?
Let's go trout.
All right. Here's the tricky one I asked you Coloradoans, and nobody has given me a straight answer yet. They're just like, eh. All right, Rocky Mountain oysters or smoked rattlesnake?
Oh, I haven't had either, but if I had to pick one, it'd probably be smoked rattlesnake.
Yeah, me too. That's what everybody says. But it's fun because, it's a good question. Yeah. All right, lamb or bison? Those are big up there.
Oh, I'm a big lamb guy.
All right. So Colorado is amazing both seasons. They've got the most incredible winter you could have in your life. They've got the most incredible summers you can have in your life. So, that being said, are you a snowmobile guy or a four-wheeler?
Four-wheeler.
Summer Colorado's or winters in Colorado?
I would say summer, but in Colorado Springs, it really doesn't matter because it's always summer. We'll get a blizzard, and then the next day it's 80 degrees. So,
That's
so
awesome.
we kind of get lucky.
So you prefer the snowshoeing or the hiking?
Probably the hiking.
Lagers or IPAs?
Ooh, IPA.
uh, Vale or Breckenridge?
Ooh, tough one. I'd probably go Vail, just because my wife had hip surgery there.
All right. Snowboarding or skiing?
Ooh, snowboarding for sure.
All right. Army or Navy?
Army all day.
Army all day. Army
day.
all day. I have a question. I see that they have those armed forces games
The Armed Forces Championships. Yep.
Were you involved in that?
I was. I won 2 Armed Forces, which was pretty cool.
And while you were at the Army, listen to me like you were at the store. While you were in the Army, did you ever experience an Army-Navy football game?
I never got to experience one, but I did get to, the Armed Forces Championship is pretty crazy with I don't know if you watch it it's more exciting than watching the US Open sometimes.
I asked you that because I was going to say, man, what was the atmosphere like at both of those? Because
it's pretty cool. And Sean Lewis, the Army coach, he gets us in, we all create a tunnel, and people are running through that are running to the mat, to compete, and it gets pretty crazy. And it's been the Army and the Marines first and second. I think the Army's won it the last 16 years, something like that, 17 maybe. And but we've had some close ones. I was on the team where we only won by point, and then I know last year they only won by point. Yeah, it gets pretty heated.
Man, that's awesome. I'd love to watch one of those. When does that usually happen?
They're usually in February or March, and it switches who gets it every year. So either the Navy, the Air Force, or the Army or Marines. It switches locations. So I'm not sure who's up for it next. I think maybe the Army, but we've had it in Fort Carson before in Colorado Springs. So hopefully then I can go and support,
Yeah. Well, I forgot to ask you about this, and thanks, Coach Chuck Morris, for posting this on the comment feed. Coach
Morris,
said Joe Betterman is a Greco god. So I did forget to ask you about your Greco. Why Greco? Why is Greco so important to you? And what made Greco your vehicle of choice?
In high school, I just I like to throw. Even in folk style, like I was at the state championship in Illinois, and I'm throwing saltos. But I just always like to throw, and I didn't like to defend my legs. It was easier not to defend my legs, so I just went for the Greco route. But Greco, it's the oldest sport. It's the most fun to me. And I think you have to be really technical. In freestyle, you got to be technical, but you got to be, to be able to take someone down without using your legs. Even though I use my legs about 90% of the time, people just didn't catch me, So you just got to, I think Greco is just a more technical sport, and it's fun, and it's easier on the body a little bit, other than, rupturing a disc in my neck. And when you're competing at that level, it changes a little bit, but it's just definitely fun and exciting. And it's something, if I could do it all over again, I would.
And what do you tell, I know I have a wife who, when my son says, I want to do Greco or freestyle, she gets all worried about the whole throwing thing.
It's funny when we're coaching in the corner, me and my wife, we're coaching my son, he's 7, and I'll yell arm spin. And I have some great video clips of my son hitting these arm spins, and she'll yell double leg, shoot. And so we have different coaching philosophies. I think kids should learn how to throw first, because then they're not scared to be thrown. But it's a good time. I think you can get hurt in anything you do. You know, you got to go out there and live life to the fullest. Freestyle, Greco, folk style. I wouldn't say folk style is any safer than Greco. You know, wrestling's wrestling, in my opinion. You just give you a different set of rules, and you know, that's how you become. I would be interested to see like some wrestler like Jordan Burroughs switch over to Greco, and if you made the Olympic team in Greco and won it, then
Well,
he's ultimate. He'd be the ultimate wrestler. You know.
how about Echemendia walking into Fargo? Never wrestled Greco before and wins the tournament.
Yeah, but I mean, he's from Cuba originally, all right, and wrestling is wrestling. He's a student of the game. Like I wrestled one of my we've got 2 kids from Georgia staying with us right now, and one of them wrestled me in freestyle the other day, and he actually thought he was going to beat me. he said, "I thought I could beat you at least in freestyle." I said, come on, wrestling's wrestling, you know, because it doesn't matter the style. It's just, you know, as long as you're a good wrestler, you should be able to wrestle any style you want.
Awesome, man. That's good to know, and it's good for kids to hear. And again, I tell everybody that I have on, man, I love what you do for kids, for youth. I love that you guys, this sport and the coaches that are in it are creating amazing humans. And I hope to get to meet everybody that I've had on this show in person one day. But thank you so much. I know you and your wife do big things out there in Colorado for USA Wrestling, and I hope to get up there one day and meet you guys.
Yeah, we'd love to have you out, or maybe we'll come out to Florida and meet you out there. So
sure. Please make sure you put all your information down in there in the link, and feel free to share this with whatever the Colorado, I know there's Colorado wrestling platforms and things like that. USA Wrestling, and let's keep in touch, man. I'll shoot you my cell phone number on Messenger.
Appreciate it, Dan. Sounds good. You have a good rest of your day.
You too, and you guys have a safe trip.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Bye.